Sam,
Damn.
it has been a trial. No, it hasn't. I know. Prayer hands across all of us. If you're listening on the video podcast, because we're going to talk about it every freaking week.
Damn right. We want you people to watch us.
You can see my prayer
on
hands,
the
my
visual.
authentic prayer hands. What I was trying to say is it's been recorded on the podcast, as we record every week.
Yeah.
That I haven't had a job for a very long time.
It's
I was
correct.
looking for a
We've
job.
talked about this already, I'm pretty sure.
Not that I've gotten a job.
Oh, no?
I don't believe so. The last time we would have spoken, I mean, the last podcast I talked about having a job, but I didn't talk about like actually getting it.
Being in the job.
And I don't want to mention exactly where I work because, you know, I did say daddy time the other week, and and that can't be good for an employee. But I will say this: I have a very fancy title. My brother right now is trying to apply to be an architect. No. My brother is trying to be an architect, like a real architect.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get into these programs, and it's so hard. It's so complicated to become an architect. But they just gave me that name. I'm a user experience architect.
Wow.
How fancy is that?
That's nice.
That's the name on my offer letter. User experience architect.
That's pretty
And the
sweet.
great thing about this job is that when I went to school, I went in a program called Global Business and Digital Arts. And that was a program where everybody in my family and everybody around in the world was like, what do you do?
Why?
What do you do?
Yeah.
And now at this job, a name like User Experience Architect only invites more of those questions.
Yeah,
What do you do?
Is that?
What do you do?
Yeah.
And I can't tell you because the life of many families depend on me.
I
to keep
update the
it
website.
No. I don't do that.
Oh.
I'm not a dev. I'm not a dev. Which is short for Devlin. The worst name of all.
Oh, absolutely.
No, but what I want to say was I do have a job now, which is very exciting. And when you get a job, they make you go through onboarding, right? Like you have to get all those, like, you have to do it at every job. Like you have to do like no sexual harassment, and you have to watch like a 30-minute thing about like
orientation, but especially at an office job.
Yeah, but you have like those. Did you have to watch for any of your jobs like those little things that you click through where it's like sexual harassment is like this, or like racism in the workplace is like this, and then you have to like.
I just played the video.
Yeah, click through.
And pulled the whole thing to the end.
Yeah, and then you have to like do a quiz or something, you know, like 3 questions.
And I just bullshit the quiz.
So like usually I've done this a lot. Like at whatever. At like when I worked at what's the construction place? Home Hardware? Not Home Hardware. The other one.
Depot?
Home Depot. When I
Mark's
worked there,
Warehouse.
really, really stuck with me. And Mark's Work Warehouse.
Yeah.
You have to do those videos, and I felt very. I mean, they're obvious, right? It takes a big old dummy to fail them.
Yeah.
This time, they had a new video introduced that really struck home with me.
Okay.
It was called Mass Assailant Training.
What, like a school shooter?
Yeah, like
But
a
for an
school
office.
shooter. So it was like the same thing where it's like a little module and had like a black and white picture of like a guy with a gun, and then it was like Mass Assailant Training. Okay. So it was like, what do you do in the case of somebody coming in? Because he was saying more and more these days, these incidents are very rare, but they're becoming more and more increasingly prevalent these days. And you know me, I'm so scared of being shot.
You hate guns.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like
it's one of your basic fears.
Yeah, and it really ramped up from like, this is like Wemyss, you know? This is like, don't grab a girl's butt, to like,
hide
you
under
could
your
all
desk.
die in your work. It was really scary, and they had such scary images. And I was like, what point does this serve? So it broke it down. So at first it was like, these incidents are becoming more and more common.
Okay.
So be careful. Somebody might come into a workplace, or it didn't just stick to the workplace. It was like, you could be out at a cafe and somebody could come in and shoot everybody. You could be at home and but it was like in the workplace.
Like, you could take this training in the world.
Yeah. I mean, great for them, really applicable.
Yeah.
But also very scary. I didn't want to be reminded of that. And so they're like, if somebody comes into the workplace and tries to shoot everybody, this is what you do. You run, hide, and fight.
And fight.
But every time they said fight, that's the third option. But every time they said that, they were like, we don't advise that you fight. But if you're put in that situation, fight. Because they were like,
what?
Your first choice is you have to run away.
That's not what they tell you in the school training.
Well, the first thing is like,
you're
they're not options, I guess. They're more like, this is the list, right? So first you try and run. If you can run, you get out of there. You run.
Yeah.
Second, hide. But then it was saying, if you hide, you're in a confined area. So if the shooter comes in, you dead. You know,
right.
Like if they get into your hiding spot, you're dead.
Yeah, tag
so
you're
then,
it.
Exactly. So then it was like, so if you're there, it was like most of these things could have been stopped if like people, you just like, you need to get into action mode and do something, whether that's run or like flight or fight.
Yeah.
So it says, if you're put in that situation and there's nothing you can do, you have to fight. And I was like, holy shit, this is too much for me to handle.
That's a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot for
You know
like
what I
a
think,
Monday
though?
morning.
I think there's a fourth option.
Which is?
Get naked and shit on yourself. Because nobody's going to fuck with you. If you
You're right. You're right. Or they just like, first one.
Yeah, you're
like,
gone.
You need to go immediately.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is
Society
like,
doesn't
well,
need
that
you.
was Jim. Yeah. Like it's not,
You know, what a guy.
but they were also like, don't talk to the attacker. Don't try and like work with them. Like not work with them, but don't try and like do
Bargain
anything.
with them.
Because they'll shoot you. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Anyways, very scary. It was a lot to take in for my first day.
Should we sign you up for a self-defense class?
I would actually like that. I mean, you would. Have you done?
A women's
you did judo,
self-defense
right?
class?
You did.
I did 3 months of judo when I was 12. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you only did 3 months?
Yeah, but
for some reason, I remember you as a kid being like into judo.
I'm really good.
Well, I mean, you became a black belt in those 3 months.
Those 3 months have never left me.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
But sometimes I like come down into like, and I see you just kicking in a circle, like really, like what, like very cool though, like on one leg kicking out.
First off, you know nothing about judo.
I don't know, what is judo?
There's no kicking.
Oh, there's no
It's all
kicking?
throws.
What?
Yeah, I can take down any
You
man, a
obviously
man of
are
any
an
size.
You know so much.
You know, I listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I know things about fighting.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I don't want to fight?
Paul Giamatti.
Getting into this podcast. Let's get into it, everybody.
Whoa.
Here we go.
Giamatti, 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 Paul Giamatti.
Welcome back to Giamatti Giamatti Giamatti, your one-stop, fully academic, encyclopedic source for all things Paul Giamatti. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm your host, Dan. And throughout that entire one, I was fighting back a yawn because you really...
I almost yawned.
Oh, did you? Because...
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm forcing my body to not do it. Oh, you know what I am going to do, though? Oh, I was really pushing a fart hard.
Oh, didn't
I
work.
almost pooed.
Uh-oh. No, please don't.
I've been pushing
No.
I've been pushing a lot of
Let me
silent ones out
oh, Jesus Christ. Let me just get back to it a second. You took a big deep breath of air, which you would see on the video podcast, and then I did the same thing, but it reacted in my body where it's like, "Oh, you're going to yawn now." And I thought I was going to mess up.
No, my bum yawned.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So what is Giamatti Giamatti? So Giamatti
Giamatti is this podcast where two best friend Canadian boys.
Hell yeah.
They're watching every single goddamn thing Paul Giamatti's ever been in.
And it's
From
so
his
exciting.
first movie, Dan, how long? How far are we going?
Forever.
Till the present,
Till
till
he
the
dies.
forever, till the infinity.
But even when I've been thinking about this, even if he dies, they've been bringing
can keep
people back
going.
in lifeness, you know, like in Star Wars and stuff. Carrie Fisher was brought back. Grand Moff Tarkin was brought
Let me
back.
just write down that quote. They've been bringing people back in lifeness.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, that's what you said.
God damn it. I think every podcast further I get into exploring Paul Giamatti, the dumber I get. I started off this podcast. I'm a graduate for the International Baccalaureate program.
Oh my God. You were
If they saw
part-time.
me now,
Oh,
they'd be so upset.
I know.
I have no reasoning.
Wait,
But
how was our high school's 50th birthday?
It was fun. You didn't go.
No.
Obviously, you would have gone with me because we're two Canadian best friend boys who talk about Paul Giamatti every week. We're watching everything he's ever done.
Purple business cards.
We're an academic podcast. It was quite fun. I obviously had to get my picture taken because I'm a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool though. They redid like a whole section of the floor, so they have like new lockers. They have all these plaques up on the wall.
Oh,
And so it was exciting to see myself on a plaque a couple times. You know.
you're on a plaque?
Well, yeah, because I was coaching. You know, like they have a picture of me.
Dan
I have
was
my
student
plaque.
body president, guys.
I have a plaque, guys. I had to go back and see my plaque.
That's all there was?
That's a
Plaque
t-shirt.
in a picture?
That's a T-shirt. Got to go back to see my plaque.
And it's just like,
And it's almost a wrap, but I'm not gonna wrap because you said you don't like
I
it.
don't like it.
Gotta go back to get my
Oh,
plaque. You know I'm not gonna stop. Don't give me no slack because I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy, and I like kisses.
I hate
I
every
like
minute of it.
kisses. I like kisses.
I'm sorry,
a
like
good
if this
guy.
is a dream of yours,
No
I don't
plaque
want
on
to
my
shoot
teeth.
on your
I don't-
dreams, but you're not something you should pursue.
Well, like Drake was doing rapping when he was
In a wheelchair?
when he was in a wheelchair on Canadian hit Degrassi.
Yeah.
So like maybe this is my wheelchair. Maybe I'm here on the podcast.
Giamatti Podcast is your wheelchair.
That's another T-shirt. What's the biggest thing you miss about high school? We were like talking about the 50th. It made me reminisce about high school, and I'm glad I'm not there. I mean, I had a very good high school experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed high school.
But I'm glad it's no longer a thing. Same with university. Loved university. I'm glad I'm gone.
Yeah.
But
I like the amount of people.
But the sad part about that is, like, in 60 years from now, I'm gonna be like, thank God I'm done adulthood. But hello, death.
Hello, death.
Hello, death.
Question mark?
Question mark.
Well, you don't know where you're going. That's the thing.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
She's going to heaven, though. She's in heaven.
Okay.
What do you miss about high school?
Oh,
The
yeah.
people
What do
you
I miss
said.
about high school? I miss
All
the
the
people.
people?
I just miss that there's a large amount of people.
Yeah.
I like meeting strangers.
Yeah, there is, like, no other way you can. I was thinking about this, like, even with dating, like, it's hard to just, like, find people.
Try to find people that you enjoy.
If
and wanna be
making
around.
friends, like, not even dating, making friends. Like, if I moved to a new city where I didn't know anybody,
I have no idea
I'd
how
be
people do that.
fucked.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would do, because I'm not, like, an inherently, like, I'm not, I don't know, I don't just meet people easily.
No. It takes a while for me to warm
maybe-
up to people, too.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
I'm not, like, not friendly and stuff, but it's like, I don't know what I would be doing out in the community other than, like, my job to meet people. But then you have work friends.
I'd probably join, like, a really dumb club.
Yeah, right?
Like bikers club or something. I'd start
But, like, how lame?
bicycling.
But then you do that, I'd feel lame. I'd be like, do I really want to be
Of
friends with you?
course.
I'm just trying to find friends. And the other thing
Yeah, it's
is
just
that,
I
like,
need people in my life. I'm
everybody else
desperate.
already has friends. Like, you have to be brought in completely, where it's not like in high school or university where everybody's or college or where everybody's thrown in together and you're like, oh, well, we can be friends. Oh, we can be friends, because
Yeah.
everybody's starting at, like, net zero.
Yeah.
But everybody else in the city is starting with, like, I have a life
They've
and
already
friends.
got enough. Yeah.
So it's like, hi, can I butt in?
It's a terrifying thought.
It is. So we're watching everything Paul Giamatti has ever been in.
Yeah.
We have clips along the way, such as this, clips like this,
Dad, my Pepsi.
and clips like this.
You're a moron. Now shut up and sit still.
And that's what makes it so fun.
And the best clip of the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Well, so last week we held a poll and asked what the best clip of the podcast was.
Yeah.
And by poll, we mean Casey, our listener Casey, mailed in and had said, play this clip. We like it a lot. And this clip was called Disappointed Daddy. Let's play it again. And everybody, I would
Send your
say,
votes in. What is your favorite clip?
what's your favorite clip? In leading up to this, I would say, like, unbuckle your pants, because you want your to have a full belly laugh when you hear this one.
I did not know where that was going.
Because you want to have a full belly
Because
laugh.
when you hear daddy. Anyways, play it.
Yeah, here we go. Disappointed Daddy.
You disappointed Daddy. Now go.
Yeah.
The now go is good.
It is good.
Paul liked it.
I
Who is that guy laughing?
think that guy's from Donnie Brasco. I don't remember what he is, but he's just.
What's
he's
the
just
name of the
laughing.
clip?
It's called Weird Laugh.
Oh, fuck.
We also got Julia Laugh. and
Like
then of course. Oh, actually, let's do this. Here, so we have Winchell. This is kind of the fun we have on the podcast together. It's
Jesus Christ. Who are you? A morning talk show host?
okay.
All right, guys. This is what we like to do. You know, we play some clips. And
You disappointed Daddy. Now go.
That was great fun, great fun. Great fun, smashing, yeah.
That was Paul.
do you have Paul's laugh from Sideways?
I do. Is it this?
Yeah,
It's that one, right?
Yeah.
Woo!
That's a good one.
Anyway, Jinx. Jay.
I thought you were gonna say
Obviously
Jake,
Jinx.
and I don't know why you're gonna say Jake.
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 Jesus Christ. Yeah, so basically that's what we do here. Was there anything? Oh, there was one other thing that I wanted to address. Speaking of music, last week I talked about how much I love the Hunger Games. You know, I loved it. I love the Hunger Games.
Okay.
Stand by it. They're fantastic. I want you
Yeah.
to watch them all.
I want to watch them all.
Not like we don't have to watch enough movies with this podcast, but I want you to watch them
yeah, I
all.
watch enough shitty movies.
And then let me know what you think. They're good movies. Don't you
Oh, you
fucking
actually
come
had
at
a
me.
moment of anger there.
Don't you come at me. Me and my other tributes will come at you on Twitter.
Right.
Me and the tributes is what we call ourselves,
Yeah,
you know?
funeral, whatever.
Yeah, 3 fingers in the air.
Oh.
I watched the movies recently. What I'm saying is, last week I mentioned Caesar Flickerman and how I want to be him for Halloween because we were talking about Stanley Tucci, of course.
You've disappointed Daddy. Now go.
And I was saying how much I love the Caesar Flickerman music, and I have it. I have it here.
Oh, okay. Play it.
Would you like to hear the Caesar Flickerman music?
Fucking play it.
Here we go.
What?
Do you not know this?
Oh, now it's getting better.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Ready? We're bringing it in. Here we go. This is when it like starts. And imagine with more reverb. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Get down. Get down.
This has no reason to be this good.
Thank you, moron. Thunder! Bye.
Yo, then it's like, it's so
Holy
sick.
shit.
Isn't that good?
So good. What the
You
fuck?
loved it.
I love it.
Dude, it's so good.
Give it to me again. Give
You
it to
want
me
to
again.
hit it one more time?
Hit me with it. Get
'Cause
those clips going.
Because it builds.
I want it all.
Okay, here we go, guys. Caesar Flickerman, round
What's
2.
this song called?
It's called War by
Oh, and it's a good name.
It has a great name. Hold on, let's see. It's
Is that a
War.
full song? I bet it's on the
yeah,
soundtrack.
it's like 3 minutes long. It's by the Hypnotic
Really?
Brass Ensemble. It's called War.
So good.
So
Hypnotic Brass Ensemble. I gotta
Great
listen
names
to more
all
of that.
around, right? Here we go. Caesar Flickerman, round 2.
All right, kids. Who wants to buy some aspirin?
What do I look like, a moron?
Adios, sugar pop.
Yeah, well, everyone has a dry spell, Ebert.
Let's blow ass.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that hat.
Oh, it's so good.
Good purpose.
Whoop-de-doodle-doo. Hey, Harvey. You want these gourmet jelly beans?
Okay, so
Oh, that's a great clip too, though.
the gourmet jelly beans.
I heard you.
Oh, one other thing is we did get another message about our favorite clip. Sarah, my girlfriend,
Okay.
said her favorite clip, and one that we don't play enough, was the crunchy toast from Arresting Gina. She says the crunch in the crunchy
Oh,
toast.
do you
is
still have
really,
it?
I do have it here. It's and she says it's really funny because the first time she heard it, I was talking about how funny the thing is, and it's not very loud because she's just eating toast, and then there's a big crunch, and
Oh, at
it
the
really
end.
surprised
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
So here's the crunching toast, and then we'll get into the actual Paul of the movies
Okay,
because
sounds
there
good.
is so much I want to talk about with this goddamn movie
Oh,
about
yeah.
a hawk.
It's perfect.
It's so good.
ripe.
It's ripe for talking about it. So here's crunching toast.
It's like too long for just the crunch, but it really makes you see the scene in your head.
Yeah, it gives you a really good picture, huh?
Yeah, and that's from Arresting Gina, folks.
Which is
where
the
we saw the
hottest
hottest
movie
woman we've
of
ever
all
seen
time.
in our life. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into Paul.
Aisha walks.
Shout out to our girl Aisha Walks. That was a horny period. I was told when I was talking.
That was our horny period.
I
It
was
is
talking
true.
to
I like that
somebody-
it's called that.
Devlin, whose
Okay.
name I shit on earlier, early in
a
the
friend of
podcast,
ours.
a friend of ours, was mentioning how he listened to a lot of the podcasts and he said it's bingeable. He's like, I binged through it. It's really bingeable. And he
Nice.
said once you get through the horny period, it becomes really, really good.
I thought that was a great period of the podcast.
Well, we're horny, of course.
we're horn dogs.
Hey, dude, we're like raunchy.
There hasn't been that many hot women now, though. That's the difference.
Will that change this week? Will we see an old friend of ours from the horny period?
Maybe.
Who knows?
I think that's a Paul the Movies cue.
Here we go.
Stop dabbing.
You don't like the dabs?
It was canceled after Hillary Clinton. Okay.
Okay, yeah, Paul the movies. So this week,
A hawk is dying, or the hawk is dying.
The titular hawk is dying. So this movie is absolutely incredible. It took me a little bit to find this one. I think you found it easier, but
I didn't find it.
Oh, you didn't find it at all. You used my copy.
I used your copy. Yeah.
It took so long to find. I couldn't find it online, so I had to get the DVD of it.
Yeah.
And rip the DVD.
I can't believe you found A Beat Goes On.
The Beat Goes On.
Yeah.
There's a number of them around here.
They're still around?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I love it when we do clips without the clip. Anyway, so I had to get the DVD and rip the DVD, and this movie is wild. Because it's not good.
It's not good,
but it's also not like, I wouldn't say it wasn't worth watching. And I there's an air of mystery to this movie because I don't know.
I kind of, in looking at the clips, like making the clips for the show,
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch it again.
Me too, because this movie entered a weird space for me where I don't know if it's because I can't tell if like the movie on its own would be interesting to me. Like if I hadn't been doing this podcast and I came across this weird movie where Paul Giamatti has a hawk on his wrist like the entire time. It's like an indie movie. Like this guy, like there's like tragedy and he's like trying to get his life together, this whole thing. But he has a hawk on his arm the entire time. And he loves talking about hawks. Like he's just so
constantly
into hawks.
Yeah.
That's like all he talks about. And I was like, would this movie be as funny to me as interesting to me? Like, would I think it's just as absurd if I wasn't doing a podcast about Paul Giamatti?
No.
You don't think so?
Well,
I think it
yes.
might be.
The scenes with him and the hawk it's hilarious.
It's absolutely hilarious because he's playing it so straight that
And
the
he has
movie
a hawk on his wrist.
becomes absurd.
Yeah, it is absurd.
And the other thing is, like, at a point I was thinking about the movie, I was like, am I watching a movie that's just about a man who likes hawks? Because
he just
like
likes birds.
There is tragedy and there's extra elements to it, but like everything that Paul is saying in the movie is basically just like, that's my hawk. I like this hawk. I have a hawk.
Yeah.
Like he's saying very blatant.
The hawk is hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like everything, almost everything he says in the movie is just very point blank objective about a hawk.
And honestly, pretty much everybody else is just talking about the hawk too.
Yeah, they're like, I don't like this hawk. Get that hawk away.
Get the hawk away.
That
Put the hawk down. Come to your nephew's funeral.
Yeah, that hawk is buried in your nephew's face. We gotta. But we'll get into it. But I was thinking, I was like, I think this movie is made even more absurd because I know about Paul Giamatti. Yeah. But while we come across bad movies, often, that are a chore to get through, I actually quite enjoyed this one. I found this one pretty fun to watch.
The thing is, I think it's because I was going into it not knowing what it was.
Well, same here.
Even a little bit. Really?
Yeah. I mean, I knew there was a hawk, but
I was so over it as soon as it started, almost.
Oh, interesting.
But it built on me.
Because
by the end of it, I was like, that was beautiful. But like,
oh, really?
Like the ending was nice.
Okay.
At least I was like, oh, the ending's okay. But coming into it, I was like, oh god, this looks like such a bad student film.
For sure. And
right?
I think that's one of the reasons I liked it. Was like, I think this one is one of the bad movies where I was like, yeah, bro, it's more up my alley to like something shitty like this. But I walked away from the movie and I was like, I think I would recommend this to the audience to watch because it is just crazy.
It's crazy.
And it's not crazy. It's not like he's being like intense, loud Paul Giamatti where he's like, bro, this.
I mean, he does that too, but
he does a little bit.
He's not an insane person. He's not like directly insane.
Yeah, he's not insane. But the movie's insane.
Yeah, the movie's
And
insane.
the fact that he just only talks about a hawk is hilarious. And it's a pretty short runtime. I say it's worth your time to watch Paul Giamatti. And he also like acts hard in this movie.
Yeah, he does do
like
a great
he's
job.
doing. I mean, Paul Giamatti never phones in a performance.
No,
except a couple times. But he's acting hard and he has a hawk on his hand
the whole time.
the whole time. It's crazy. So anyway, I really liked it.
And kudos to them. They used a real fucking hawk.
Yeah, they did.
I really couldn't notice that. I don't really think they used a fake one a lot.
No, I think it was mostly a real hawk.
A real hawk.
Yeah.
It was impressive.
Which is crazy.
Like I was watching to see when it switched to a fake hawk.
Yeah.
It really wasn't.
Well, I have some information about these hawks that I'll get to in a little bit, Sam, but that's going to tease you.
I hope a hawk died.
All the hawks are dead. No. Paul Giamatti actually killed a lot of hawks.
Well, to prepare for the role.
He actually just backed over them in his truck. So the movie is a Gainesville, Florida audio. Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, it's okay.
A Gainesville, Florida auto upholsterer attempts. Those are hard words, dude.
Auto upholsterer.
Okay. Attempts to subvert his mundane life by training a wild red-tailed hawk. And the movie is based on a book actually by Harry Crews with the same name. The Hawk is Dying. But who is Paul, Sam? Give me a taste for who Paul is.
Paul's name is George Gatlin. Should we just get Paul to describe himself
You know what?
for us,
Should
for
we
the
just
audience?
let's get Paul to do it for us. Here is Paul Giamatti
As George Gatling.
talking about who he is.
My name is George Gatling. I own L&S Custom Auto Trim. My shop's foreman's name's Billy Bob Mavis. He comes from the same place I do, Bainbridge, Georgia.
He's doing it very
I
slowly.
live here, 2611 Northwest 8th Avenue in Gainesville, Florida, with my sister
Who's
and her
precious,
son, my nephew,
named Fred.
dead by drowning in his own bed.
He's breaking down the entire movie.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, we can stop.
Your name is Dr. Leap.
You don't
And
want to
if
hear
you
about
force me
Dr.
to
Leap?
I don't
Take
need to
those
hear about
pills,
Dr. Leap.
I'll
I
touch
only
my
want to know who
Just
Paul
know Paul.
Giamatti
I
is.
will
Just-
sue
that's when
you
we're
for
at.
all
Okay,
the money
okay,
you
okay.
have or ever expect.
So that is Paul.
That is Paul. He is George
My
Gatling,
name is George Gatling.
Gainesville, Florida, auto upholsterer.
Yes.
Loves Hawks.
Loves Hawks. So yeah, he lives with his sister named Precious, and
Who is a big girl. Everybody's wondering.
she's a big girl.
Big white lady.
Big girl.
Big heart.
Big heart.
Yeah.
I liked Precious, and her
I like
autistic
Precious.
son named Fred.
Fred.
Yeah, he loves hawks. He wants to train one, but they keep dying on him.
Yeah.
He keeps killing hawks.
Yeah.
He's like obsessed with hawks.
Because he doesn't want to water them.
No,
He says
because
hawks
the thing
don't
is,
need water.
they don't need water because they're a predator, and you're also not supposed to feed a hawk.
Which is so not true.
Oh, really?
Dan,
I feel like it's true. He's read books. Like, he knows a lot about hawks.
there's no way.
I think you're wrong. I think hawks don't need water
What are you talking about?
because they get water through the meat.
Every wild thing needs water.
That's what they say in the movie, but Paul says no, and I'm with Paul. Paul's the hawk expert.
He's killed so many hawks.
Yeah, but this one survives. Do hawks need water?
All right. Well, the reception of the movie.
Oh, it says red tail and many other hawks and virtually all falcons drink water.
Yeah. Like there's no way.
They have no lips
no way.
and so cannot easily create a swallowing reflex in soft, flexible mouth. And what kind of sense? Hold on. Maybe I'm having trouble reading these days. They have no lips and so cannot easily create a swallowing reflex in soft, flexible mouth and throat tissues as can mammals. That's not a sentence. SunnyDixie.blogspot.com. Bad grammar.
Sunny Dixie.
Sunny Dixie.
So this movie was accepted in the director's fortnight competition at the Cannes Film Festival. Does that mean that
let's
it was
get
filmed
into
in
it.
a week?
Oh, maybe. That'd be pretty impressive.
Dan, it's called research. All right, do it.
Okay. We're an academic podcast. I'm sorry. I'm letting everybody down.
So it was released in 2006 at the Sundance Film Festival.
Yeah.
Hit cinemas a year later. No budget information, but it grossed $15 million worldwide. That makes sense for what it looks like.
Yep.
The New York Times reviewed the movie and
Yeah.
said,
Roger Ebert did not go near this movie.
"That's okay."
Not a review in sight, but I found a couple other ones that I thought were fitting.
Okay. At this point in his career, the actor Paul Giamatti is pretty much the go-to guy for crumpled manhood.
Perfect.
We're stealing that. That's
yeah,
perfect.
I thought I read that and I was like, that's so true.
It's what he is. Yeah.
Crumpled manhood.
For crumpled manhood.
Yeah.
Crumpled manhood, tech men, apes, and what else?
It's P. Diddy. Sean.
Oh, and men in power.
Yes, men in power. Insecure men in power.
Insecure men in power. Yeah. For characters, the go-to guy for crumpled manhood. For characters whose disappointment with life is stamped on their spines and sagging jowls.
Like, it's harsh,
That's
but
not
like,
very nice about the man.
if we stop doing Weight Watch, so you're not allowed.
And his jowls aren't really sagging.
No, they're looking good.
And they're hairy in this one.
Yeah.
It is a
It's
dreary...
the failing New York Times. What can you expect?
It is a dreary study of male angst groaning beneath the weight of its own symbolism. This isn't specifically about Paul. But.
This is about the movie.
Yet despite having to spend most of the movie with an unhappy hawk strapped to his wrist, Giamatti fully commits to a character burdened by visions and required to freak out in a funeral parlor.
Yeah.
The AV Club went on to say, Giamatti puts his talents to use in scenes where he holds serious, painful conversations while tethered to a squawking, flapping bird.
I think that is the highlight of this movie, and
That's like everybody's takeaway.
Yeah, and I'm glad I have this podcast, if not just to watch this movie, because it is just I can't get over how ridiculous it is to have an emotional indie movie where Paul's acting, where he has a bird flapping around
Like
on
he's
his
screaming
arm.
at people, he's crying about his dead nephew
it's
that he
like-
raised as a son, and there's a bird screaming on his
I know.
wrist.
Do you want to figure out some?
And like falling off, hitting the ground. And
yeah,
like,
it's insane. Do you want to find out some more about the bird? I have some stuff about the bird
know
here.
more about the bird.
So
do you just know facts about red-tailed hawks? Is that what you're gonna tell me?
No. I on the DVD there's a special feature about the bird
Holy shit!
and
Okay.
Paul and the bird.
Wow.
I know, it's exciting. So
Really?
first of all, the behind the scenes is narrated by this like really wonderfully voiced man.
Okay.
And so this is him describing a summary of the movie, and then we'll move into Paul and the bird.
Okay.
So here we go. Just a taste of him.
Okay.
The movie, The Hawk is Dying, is a gripping and heart-rending drama telling the story of one man's struggle to tame a wild beast in order to overcome his personal
What is
demons.
this, National Geographic?
So good, right? It's a whole segment about movie animals. I guess maybe it's on multiple DVDs. I don't know.
Really?
So this is him
Okay.
talking about Paul now, okay?
Okay.
The narrator. And then we'll get into Paul with the bird, okay?
On set and in training, things don't always go right, especially with leading Hollywood actor Paul Giamatti.
She won't hurt me. She loves me.
Wait, was that it?
Yeah, that's it. Hold on. But there's more. There's more.
Oh,
there's
okay.
more.
I was gonna say if you baited me with, well, we'll get to Paul later. He's not gonna hurt me.
She loves me.
She loves me.
Hold on, I got more clips. Okay, so this is him acting with the bird. I have two different clips here of him acting with the bird.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna meet my three co-stars here.
This is him meeting the bird for the first time.
Thank you.
This will be a first, rather tentative meeting, as Paul's fears of working with birds of prey stare him in the face,
Is there video for this?
their
too?
sharp beaks and claws threatening a daunting first day's training.
I think W.C. Fields said you never act with animals or small children. But it'll take a lot of the pressure off of me because, I got a bird on my arm for the whole movie. And he's much more attractive than me.
Aw, Paul, don't say that.
Wait, was that the end of the clip?
That was the end of the first clip. We have a second clip. Are you underwhelmed?
I want
love
the
these.
bird to attack him. I want
Oh.
the bird to scream.
I'll
I
tell you,
want
the
Paul to
bird
be-
never attacked. Though there is a funny visual clip that, like, there's nothing to go with it, but it's like a short little clip where
Yeah.
he's like having the bird, and it's like, and then they're like, and it like flies over to it like a stick or something. But here's the second clip of him talking about the bird.
It's going to be a very weird acting challenge. I don't know what it's going to be like to have him on my arm all the time. Having to do sort of emotional scenes. And a lot of the time it's not necessarily about him, but everything will be about him. So it'll be fascinating. I don't know what it'll be like.
Like,
That's so funny.
It's just wild that he has a
So
bird.
he knew what was going on the whole movie.
He's
I
on
mean,
the
like,
same page as us.
as much as we saw the bird on screen,
Yeah.
the bird was on his arm for way longer.
Oh, yeah. Take after take. There were 3 birds that they had
Yeah,
in
of course.
rotation in case any got tired or mean.
Started attacking. Well, I really want to know if he got hurt.
Well, do you want to hear him talk about bird poop?
Would love to. I'd
Because
love
this
nothing
is from
more.
a separate interview with Movie Phone. Do you remember Movie Phone?
No.
Oh, it's like it was way
I watched
back in the day.
MTV movies.
Okay, this isn't it. This is from an interview with Movie Phone. It's him and the director of the movie talking about the bird.
Okay.
And they're going to do a really funny bit where they call it a parrot.
What was it like working with parrots?
Yeah, the parrot in the movie is, it's not actually a hawk, it's a parrot dressed as a hawk. And
Pretty good performance
Very
by
good
that parrot.
performance.
Yeah, bro. Fuck yeah.
no,
bro.
we had 3 different parrots that we rotated. And they were all right. They were great. They didn't crap as much as I thought they would. Honestly, I thought that they were going to do that all the time, and I only remember them doing that once in the funeral home.
Yeah,
Which
they
was
crapped
awkward 'cause
once
it was-
on Michelle's foot,
They
right?
crapped on Michelle a couple of
You're
times.
right.
So, yeah, now we know that the birds pooped on Michelle Williams quite a couple times.
And that's our reveal, folks. Michelle Williams is in this movie.
She's in this movie. If you might remember.
Stop looking at the camera.
Sorry.
Nope. I'm right here.
Yeah, I know. You might remember her from If These Walls Could Talk Too, where she played a lesbian in
Yeah.
like the 60s
Yeah.
or 70s.
Something like that, yeah. Tough
She
time
was
for
so
lesbians.
good. And she was what we called full.
Very full.
Now, I think there's been speculation as to what that means, and we're not
You think
gonna
so?
we're not gonna give any answers.
Just full. Imagine a full
Full.
woman.
beautiful and full.
Yeah.
Here, she has blonde hair now. Before she had brown hair. Now she has her iconic blonde hair.
That's why it took me a while to like pin her down. Yeah.
And she's a little bit thinner here.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, it looks like. Oh, you're right. I shouldn't be doing. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm backed myself into a corner.
She is thinner though.
But still beautiful. Either way, of course.
Still beautiful.
Still, and it's not
Less
full. Thank you. Michelle Williams in this movie is less full. Which made Paul say this.
I want you to eat. Come on, baby. I want you to eat.
Oh, it's right.
I want you to eat. Come on.
Just kidding. He wasn't talking to Michelle Williams in that clip.
No, he's talking to Precious.
Fuck off. He was surprisingly talking to his bird. Oh my God. Let's get into the movie, I guess. So basically it starts, so Paul works in an auto body shop and his pet hawk just died, okay? Yeah. He goes home to where he lives with his sister Precious and her son Fred, who has autism. Now, there was a number of questions that I had at the beginning of this movie that it took me a very long time to answer. First of all, I thought Fred was his son. Did you think the same thing?
Top I did, yeah.
Because you don't know
and
Precious.
Then I was confused because there's another scene where he says to Precious, like, oh, he says to Fred, like, go see your mom.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so they're banging? But it was already established that they're brother and sister.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
And I'm like, I think I'm an idiot.
I thought there was incest because they're like in Florida. He's kind of like a backwater like type of dude. I thought he was banging his sister. Yeah. And I thought that's why he was mentally disabled, was because the brother and sister were doing it.
Yeah.
So that was my whole story in my head.
Florida plus large sister plus living in sister's home.
Exactly, because he's so close to Fred.
The equation adds to incest.
Yes. He's so close to Fred. Then it's revealed that Precious, who he lives with his sister, and then we find out that Fred is the sister's son. So I was like, oh my God, this is an incest movie. Not only does Paul love hawks, but he's an incestual hawk lover.
I also thought not only was this an incest movie,
I
also thought this was going to be a story about a psychopath, because the story opens with a dead bird, and Fred is whistling to the dead bird and surrounding it with rocks.
With rocks as design stuff.
And I'm like, this is Ted Bundy's story. Like, this is.
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. This
is the Floridian Ted Bundy.
There's a whole other narrative in there that we could.
It didn't go like that.
No.
But I kind of wanted to, and then he was also smoking cigarettes. So
yeah.
Which is, I thought was really funny.
Yes, it was hilarious.
It was really, really funny. He's smoking cigarettes and drinking liquor, and this is a kid with like low functioning autism.
Yeah.
Or at least nonverbal autism.
Well,
I won't say low functioning.
Yeah, please.
He's high functioning, nonverbal.
Exactly. I thought I didn't know. At the beginning I wasn't totally sure if he had a disorder.
It didn't come across fully
because
until like the second scene. Yeah.
Well, like at the beginning, like he's interacting with. He's like very silent, but I thought it could be that he was just unhappy with his life in Florida because he lives with his incest mom and dad.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it makes sense.
But he's like, the first scene you see him, he's drinking a beer.
Yeah, he's smoking cigarettes.
And he lights his own cigarette. I'm like, he seems like a normal dude.
And then another scene happens.
That's why I fully thought he was a psychopath.
Same. Okay, and then he walks into a glass door.
I didn't notice that.
Did you not notice that?
No, I saw that in the notes, and I did not notice that when that happened. And I'm really upset because that's fucking hilarious.
And because I was like, is there like a disabled thing happening here?
But also, what were they thinking? That's not really nice.
No!
Let's put a mentally challenged guy in our movie and let's make him walk into a glass fucking door. Like, that's awful.
It didn't seem awful to me in the moment. I think it was like a stumble, but it was like, I was like, oh, okay, never mind. For sure.
But also,
he has something going on.
In that, like, so he takes the beer out of his son's hand or his nephew's hand. Yeah. And then they're just chatting. He's telling him about, we got to get another hawk.
We got to get another hawk.
The hawk is dead. They're like, oh, don't worry. I'll take the day off work. We'll go get the hawk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Then they go inside, and the next scene is they're lying in bed together. Mm-hmm. Fred is smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Holding a teddy bear.
I didn't notice this. You didn't notice the glass door. I didn't notice this. He's holding
a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Paul is lying beside him, looking at him like lovingly, and he's holding a rubber duck.
I'm ridiculous.
Like, what the fuck kind of student film is this?
What's the symbolism there, do you think?
I don't know what
Wow.
it is, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty funny.
That's just crazy.
And then the next shot is like a shot of Jess Paul in the window, and then it's just like that slow zoom out. Like, what am I watching? Who's dying in this movie? Who is dying? We find out.
Yeah, we find out soon.
It's the one that's mentally challenged.
Yeah. But before that happens, Paul goes to see his weed addict friend, Michelle Williams.
What?
Um,
Why'd you write weed addict?
Because she's like, it feels like she's living in a drug den, but she just smokes weed.
Yeah.
I was like,
okay, I'll take it.
I don't really get
I thought
it.
she was a prostitute.
Same. Like, I thought it seemed really seedy, but she's a university student in psychology
Yeah.
who happens to smoke weed.
And also, play the song that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As soon as he gets into her room.
Yeah.
They're talking about doing an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then she just smokes weed, and then this song is playing in her bedroom.
Yeah, because she lives in a real sketchy house. Like a real...
Like, there's some dude in another room just, like, doing drugs. Not weed, though.
No, real drugs.
Yeah, real Floridian drugs.
And this is... this is...
Some crocodile.
This is what she hears.
Some light
Hell
DJ
yeah.
listening, you know?
Shake that ass. I like that song.
Nearly as good as the Caesar Flickerman song. Nearly.
Y'all ready at home for this?
This is what we call a mashup.
Glee. Have you heard this one?
Pitch
We're about to
Perfect.
drop the hottest mashup of 2018. I don't think my levels are right.
No, not at all. Okay, that did not work at all.
It didn't work.
Oh,
Aw.
I really
Hey
wanted
guys,
it
I'm
to
sorry.
work.
Me too.
Oh, wow.
Okay, hold on.
Jesus Christ. You're trying again. Let's see.
Yeah, who's ready for this?
It
Everybody?
has to work. Now.
Not yet. It's happening. We're bringing it in.
I'm so excited.
Here we go.
Oh. It's off. You did it at the wrong time. You did on beat 4. It's supposed to be beat 1.
I'm sorry.
Did you not in music school?
Let me see what you got. Shake that ass, bitch, and let me see what you got.
Nearly as good. Okay. We need to move past this. I was surprised that she wasn't a prostitute, though. But at the end of him talking about his bird that he got,
Yeah.
she then says, "What, you come here to fuck me?"
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I came here to talk."
I came here to talk.
It's like, no, you didn't.
Nah, you came here to fuck.
Yeah.
And there's some real interested family dynamics happening in this whole thing. Do you want to hear a clip? So Paul goes up. Paul is an Oscar-nominated actor, okay?
Yeah.
Michelle Williams is an Oscar-nominated actress.
At this point?
At this point, yeah. On the DVD cover.
Cold Mountain? Was she in Cold Mountain?
Oscar-nominated.
Holy shit.
Oscar-nominated to the camera. So he walks up to her door, and this is the first conversation between them. And I have this clip is called Two Oscar-Nominated Actors.
Okay.
I thought you said you weren't going to come by tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
I said I couldn't come tonight.
My face is of disgust.
Here you are.
I couldn't come.
But here you are.
That's not their fault. It's the writing.
It's not their
They
fault,
added
but it
nothing
isn't.
to
It
it.
isn't good.
No.
I was expecting more. They do end up acting later in the movie, and then I also have a
Yeah.
clip here of Paul talking to her, which I really like. So this is him talking. This is like the first taste of real Hawk knowledge that he has.
Okay.
The first insight into his obsession. And Michelle Williams.
We're getting hawked.
We're getting hawked. Hawked and heavy. And Michelle Williams isn't feeling it.
I saw this picture of a Babylonian with a hawk in his fist.
Ugh.
You realize
She's
that
not
training hawks hasn't died out, not ever. Not even for a little while. in over 3,000 years. Attila, the king of the Huns, he had a hawk on his helmet. I read that if a hawk doesn't want to be trained, it possesses the last inviolable sanctuary of death.
I'm not interested.
He's so into hawks. Okay, what happens next, Sam? Bring us back. I'm getting sidetracked with all the hawks.
Paul then finds a new hawk.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, they get super, super, super excited. Fred's with him, drinking his liquor, having a good time.
Trying to blow smoke rings with his cigarettes.
Yeah, he's telling them that's what he was doing in bed as well.
Yeah.
And he's telling them about the natives that used to live in the Floridian lands. Florida used to be covered in a giant lake, and native people lived on the outskirts of the lake. And that's what he says to Fred. And Fred says nothing. He doesn't talk. Yeah, and then they get a hawk, and it's really great.
Yeah.
And they capture it.
They capture the hawk.
Then they go home to Precious, and Precious is just reading off some tabloids, and he's like, "Oh, we gotta fucking put the hawk somewhere." She's like, "I'm not gonna put it in the closet and let it die."
Yeah, not again.
He's like, "You don't water hawks."
Fool me a couple times, Paul. Shame on me.
Yeah.
I'm not putting another hawk in the closet.
Because we never get a
die.
full number, but it seems like he's killed 3 to 4 hawks.
Because no matter where he goes in the movie, people like know Paul in the community.
They all know that he loves hawks.
And everybody...
you can't miss it.
Well, I mean, it is strapped to his arm.
Especially, at that point.
But
you really
everybody in the movie's like, I hear you're starving hawks. How many hawks down are you now? Like, everybody's like, you've been killing hawks.
Yeah. And he asked one guy, and one guy at a party knows about hawks.
Yeah.
But he's like, I never caught a fucking hawk like you.
Is it a Florida thing?
I don't think so.
No, it's definitely not.
It's just a weird guy thing.
I also just, I think the role really fit Paul. Like, I like it.
It's a perfect Paul role.
Just feels so right.
He is a crumpled man. We are stealing that.
Yeah, he's a crumpled man.
He's a crumpled man in this one.
But I feel like loving hawks is like the most Paul thing a role could be. Because usually he's like the crumpled manhood of like, like he has some problems, but there's some redeeming qualities. He's funny or something.
Yeah.
He's not funny in this movie. He's quite boring.
Just by virtue of the character, he's funny though.
Yeah. But I mean like.
But he's not acting funny.
On page, he's not doing anything
spectacularly
funny. Yeah. He's playing it so straight, which is like the best role for Paul. Like I just love that he's with a hawk. Do you think the hawk is the real star of this movie?
Of course it is.
Of course, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on then. So then Paul sets, this is where it gets, you're going to have to help me through this because I'm a little confused. So Paul sets Fred up with Michelle Williams. He's been fucking Michelle Williams.
As a babysitter, to be fair.
Oh, I thought he set her up to have sex with them.
So he comes up to his sister while she's changing, and he rubs her shoulders.
As you do. She asked him to do up her.
Put a necklace on.
Yeah.
Because they're going to a party.
So at this point in the movie, I still thought they were fucking.
Oh, fully thought they were fucking
and I
still.
doubled down on that opinion because he walks in while she just has like her bra on.
Yeah.
And they're like chatting and he's in a bathrobe.
And he rubs her shoulders though. When have you ever gone up to your sister and been like, hey, what are you doing tonight?
Hey, I hear we're going to the party together tonight. Oh, what? I'm just in a bathrobe and my chest is bare and you're just in a bra?
He's not even a bath. It's just a towel.
A towel, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, a towel.
That's worse. Still
It's
dewy
crazy.
from the shower?
Yeah. Ugh. God. You don't want those massaging fingers on your
It's
on your
fucking
arms.
gross.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then he's like, don't you think it's time for that Fred had a friend?
Yeah, I thought by friend, I thought
Lover.
he meant lover. Like
No,
bring
just
Michelle
friend.
Williams.
He's always
in
stuck
to
at the
have
house.
sex with.
He can't go anywhere. He needs a friend. So
Okay.
what was her name? Debbie in the movie?
I do not know. I misread the situation then.
So yeah, the Michelle Williams comes over as a babysitter, and she's dressed in a fucking pantsuit.
Well, you got to be. It's the first time babysitting.
She's
You got
dressed
to be
in like
professional.
a blazer and a pencil skirt.
Well, that's
babysit.
That is the dress code for the Babysitters Club.
Is it? No.
No, they were cool teens. They didn't wear that.
I don't know why I questioned it.
I like Claudia. She's my favorite.
Jesus Christ. So then,
yo, the person out there who got that ref absolutely will love it, and I hope they feel proud that I pulled that off.
Oh, I'm proud of you too. I like the girl that would dance everywhere.
I actually like the blonde one, but Claudia is the only one I can remember.
No. What's the girl that danced everywhere? She was the black one.
I don't know anything else about the Babysitters Club.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay,
so I need you to back off.
She comes over.
Yeah.
She has an immediate connection with Fred, which I thought was nice. It was like quietly beautiful. You know?
Yeah.
And they go to the party and they leave her with Fred.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there, not really saying too much at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just looking at each other's eyes. It's really nice. And then it cuts to the party.
Yep. And so Paul.
What do you do with Hawks?
Yeah, but let's finish this line of thought with Fred and Michelle Williams. So
Okay.
then he brings her.
We'll follow their story there.
Yeah.
So then
I
want to explain it. I want to explain it.
Okay, I won't even. Just say what happens.
Yeah. So then Michelle Williams and Fred, they go out and they look at the hawk.
Yeah.
Because Paul really wanted I think her name's Debbie. Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
He wanted Michelle Williams to see his hawk. And she's been uninterested. But she goes out.
But she's already seen his hawk.
Hey, you know what I mean. So then she goes out. Stop!
I winked at the camera because it was a good gag.
So then she goes. They go out.
Mm-hmm.
And they're looking at the hawk. And they're whistling to the hawk. Because Fred's like has some sort of connection with it. He's tuned in.
Yeah.
And they're just, hanging out. It's fine.
Okay.
It's very innocent.
Very innocent.
Then it cuts to we skip a little time. Then it cuts to they're in the bedroom together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wordlessly. He takes off her clothes.
Okay. You're saying it so sexually.
He takes off her clothes and he touches her shoulder like just gingerly, like just.
And it's a really intense close up of the shoulder. And I didn't know what body part he was holding on to.
Just little touches. I thought it was. I didn't know what it was at first either.
Yeah.
And he's just touching like tiny little touches, and then he runs his hand down her arm a little bit, and then he just says water because he says some words in the movie. He says water. Then it cuts to a shot from behind her of her thighs, and she's just peeing.
She's just peeing.
She's just peeing.
I know. It's such a fast shot because he's like touching her.
And then a quick cut.
And then it's just like.
And pee.
Pee everywhere.
Pee everywhere. Everywhere. And then we don't see anything else.
Sorry, I'm going to stop with this Caesar Flickerman music. It's
I like it a lot.
Okay, I do like it. But yeah, then she pees. So that was very confusing to me. Paul goes to the party, and everybody's like, oh my God, you have hawks.
He's asking the guy about hawks. He sees a dead owl, whatever. Owls are apparently the dumbest animal out there.
It's a big eye roll, right?
It's pretty bad.
Everybody seems to know about his fascination and how he keeps getting more
One
and killing
lady's
them.
really angry about it.
Yeah.
A psychology professor who we find out later is Michelle Williams' mom.
What?
Because she's a psychology professor. Then later on,
I had no idea.
She's like a doctor. And then later on, when Paul's yelling at Michelle Williams,
yeah,
about this whole Fred situation, spoiler alert, she says, "Well, you're just a doctor's daughter."
Oh my God! Wow. Okay. Wow. Right? You paid more attention than me, I guess. I missed the rubber duck. I missed.
You're just looking at the
family
hawk.
Connections. I was
transfixed.
entranced by the hawk. But anyway, so then that night they come back home, right?
It was very beautiful up until she peed her pants after he said water.
Oh, wait, he says water and
he
she
says
pees?
Water, cut, pee.
I don't get it.
It doesn't make sense.
I'm just going to move on.
I think she's nervous.
I think that's the thing. She's nervous because it's a super tense scene and
she's like
pees.
Scared.
But that's a weird one to just do.
It was so weird.
Okay, well then that night, if we want to get a little bit weirder, Fred drowns in his waterbed.
So,
Paul calls an ambulance, and then
Paul's outside with the hawk, and he hears Precious screaming.
Yeah, he hears just Precious screaming in the background.
He's like, what? Goes upstairs.
What the hell is going on?
You clipped it, Dad.
What? Come at me. You don't want to clip?
What's going on? What the hell's going on? What? What the hell's going on?
Oh my God, Dad.
What?
Holy shit.
What? You got a problem with this clip?
What did my baby do to deserve this?
What?
This is awful.
What do you mean?
I'll have to show this on video.
Do something, call them.
Holy shit. You know what's really funny? I was going to clip that same scene. Play the scene. yeah, get it going. I was going to play that same scene or cut it. But then I thought, no, that's really horrible. I shouldn't do that. This is the death of an autistic boy.
What the hell is going on?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I thought the clip was fun.
What the hell is going on?
Sorry.
But also there was that little dream before this happened of like somebody jumping into a pool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He died in a waterbed. Did we say that?
Yeah, he died. He drowned in his
waterbed punctured.
Okay, so then he confronts Michelle Williams, who's shaken by the news. Cause he's
She
like,
was
"What'd you
shaken
do?"
before she even left. Though.
Yeah, I mean, she went through an intense situation and she peed her pants.
But
Two things that
also
would
Fred
shake me
looked
up.
shaken. Do you remember the shot where Paul comes into the room and he's just like lying there?
Yeah.
But like not like awake, I believe.
Well, he saw boobs.
He did saw boobs.
Yeah, but Paul here is acting on all cylinders, and he doesn't have a hawk yet on his arm, so he's what?
Never mind.
Oh.
We can't say that.
You have to say it now. That's really funny. I'll say it if you won't say it.
Okay.
Sam wrote this line. He said, "You never water a hawk, and you never water a mentally disabled child." Because we've seen what happens in both cases. Paul says you can't water a hawk, and Fred died in his waterbed.
So, you don't put two and two together.
You can't do it.
What's going on? What the hell? What? What the hell's going on?
I'm crying.
Okay, I'll stop.
As a real hawk. As a real hawk.
Fuck. Anyways, yeah, I wasn't gonna read that. But.
I'm sorry, but before that happened, this thing.
Huh? All I want to say is I totally get why Paul did this movie.
I would do this. This movie's incredible.
This is a guy drinking liquor,
Yeah.
smoking darts,
Yeah.
and he gets to have a hawk on his arm the entire time.
You do the movie for the hawk.
I don't know. I like all the other stuff too.
Okay. But so Fred dies. He's mad at Michelle Williams. Then Fred's real dad shows up and threatens to beat up Paul.
Yeah.
Unless he takes the hawk off his arm, because at this point Paul's trying to train the hawk, and he's like really using the hawk as like a grieving tool. So he has this hawk. He's like latched on.
It's like a comfort blanket.
Exactly. The hawk's on
because
his arm.
somebody said you can't eat until you feed the hawk.
Yeah, you can't eat until the hawk
Eats out of your hand.
and you can't sleep until the hawk sleeps.
Yeah.
So it's like you're in this together, which is like Paul's thing. Anyway, so he has a hawk on his arm. Fred's real dad comes up because Paul's not the dad. It's not an incest movie too.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm gonna beat the shit out of you unless you take that hawk off your arm." Then Paul runs away. He falls asleep in the forest, or like passes out in the forest.
Yeah.
He
Like a
He has a
fever dream.
vision. Yeah, like a fever dream of Fred. Then he gets Michelle Williams. They go to the funeral home because he has to see Fred.
It's a very cryptic dream too.
It's a very cryptic dream. They let him into the funeral home. I'm just kind of forging
fine.
through. They go to the funeral home. He brings the hawk in.
Yeah.
The hawk freaks out, claws Fred's face.
Yeah.
The funeral home director is like, "We have to cut off the hawk's legs." And Paul's like, "We
No.
can't do that." And so then he's like, "Okay, then we're going to have to cut it out of Fred."
Is
And
that what
so-
he said?
Something like that.
All right, they just pulled it out, I think. Anyways, yeah.
Anyway. So
Nonetheless, the hawk jumped on Fred's face.
So then Paul passes out. And then
There's another dream.
Exactly.
But it's kind of the same dream.
Basically the same dream.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the forest with Michelle Williams. And
Not at night or anything like that. They're
No, just like
debriefing.
in the day. They're
Yeah.
just chatting about it. They're smoking some weed.
Because at this point, they're pretty friendly now. At
Yeah.
one point in the movie, he does go to her. He yells at her on the phone.
Yeah, he yells at her.
He's like, "What did
in
you do to
person."
him? What did you do to him?"
Yeah.
He's pretty distraught.
But I think she recognizes, as a psychology student, that he's grieving or in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And then I want to know if you caught more of this monologue. So as they're hiding in the forest, he does a big monologue about how a hawk killed a buzzard that was eating his uncle.
It wasn't eating his uncle. The buzzards were circling around his dead uncle.
Oh, my bad.
In the air.
Okay.
And then he saw a hawk. Did you clip the monologue?
No, it was so long.
So it's so long. But they're drinking some weed. They're smoking a little
slurping the
little
ganj.
gangaja.
Gangaja.
And then And he tells a story about a hawk that was above the buzzards. He thought these buzzards were disgusting. His dead uncle was there. And then the hawk stoops down and attacks the buzzards and kills them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a metaphor for why he loves hawks so much.
Well, that is a metaphor and a metaphor, because the hawk is kind of like Fred.
The hawk is him.
The hawk is him.
Oh, I thought the hawk was himself.
It could be. I'm bad at metaphors.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm not a very critical thinker.
You're a literal thinker.
Well, I think I'm a critical thinker, but I'm not good at picking up metaphors in movies.
Okay, I'll take it.
I get symbolism. I get the first step where I'm like, that's symbolism. That's obviously symbolism. And then if you're like, what does the hawk mean? I'm like, Fred? Oh.
I thought it meant himself.
It probably does.
He
mean
wants
himself.
to be, because the people were asking him, like, what does the hawk mean to you? And he's like, a killer.
Yeah. Sorry,
like
that
somebody,
makes
like somebody powerful in their life. That's why when I was looking back, I was like, oh, maybe because he doesn't eat when the hawk he doesn't eat. The hawk doesn't eat. The hawk doesn't sleep. He doesn't sleep. Like they're one and the same.
Okay, I can get down to that.
Right. That's when I started to like the movie a lot more.
Interesting.
When I actually realized, like, oh, it's like,
so do you like the movie?
It's him. I like what the movie was trying to do to some degree.
Okay. Because I would say this is a
I like what
bad
it's exploring,
movie
but
that
it's a bad
worth
movie.
watching.
But it is worth watching, yeah.
Okay.
I thought the hawk was really funny.
I think you like it more than me.
I think you think
it's better than I think it is.
I like the third act. I like the third act a bit.
Yeah. So once he claws into Fred's face, you're like, I'm in.
No. Don't put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was when I thought that him and his sister were banging.
Oh yeah, because then you're. Well, I was in.
Strapped right in.
And then it took me out when I realized they weren't, and then I had to rebuild that engagement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you.
So that's basically the movie. Let's talk about Paul a little bit. Paul's performance.
Okay.
I think he does really good for having not even for having a hawk strapped to his arm.
What do you think about Fred's performance?
Fred?
Yeah,
I thought it was better than most of the other
mentally
challenged people that we have in film.
Yeah.
I think a couple things contribute to that. One is that it feels very natural, or it feels more natural. Sometimes it's not very subtle, but it does feel like
pretty subtle.
Yeah, and it feels like he's just living his life, whereas the others really called attention to it.
Yeah.
And nobody made fun of him. I feel like in most of these movies that we've watched, where there's been characters with mental disabilities,
he was given respect or pity, but he wasn't made fun of.
Yes. And I don't think it was like real pity. It was like, I think that pity was warranted from his dad and mom.
Yeah.
You know, Michelle Williams treats him like an equal. Like I think it's actually quite a good portrayal.
Yeah.
Or at least we've been so conditioned to see such shitty portrayals that
I thought it was a good portrayal.
Okay,
it was a good
me
portrayal.
too.
Yeah. What I don't like is the trope of like after they die, they're like, okay.
What do you mean?
Do you know what I mean? At the end of the movie, we see like Fred, and he's able to talk. You remember that part?
No, what?
Where he goes and lets the hawk free. You missed the end of the fucking movie?
What do you mean? Oh, was that a vision?
Yeah.
Oh, I assumed that just happened before, and they just showed that scene.
No.
You know, like
he was letting the hawk go.
A Star is Born.
He actually does end up training the hawk. The hawk does end up eating from his hand. And all that shit.
Yeah.
And he lets the hawk free, but before he lets the hawk free, Fred comes and he's like, "Oh, the natives they used to live on the outskirts of the lake."
I don't know why, but I totally missed that. I remember that now, but like it didn't seem.
I thought
odd
it was
to
beautiful.
Me. Okay, yeah.
Anyways,
interesting. So you big fan of Fred?
Yeah.
What about Paul?
Big fan.
This isn't Fred.
Big fan.
Big fan. I think, yeah. The fact that he acts so well in this movie.
Yeah.
He has a couple really powerful, is just in the grief of losing him, like in that aftermath when he's trying to call the ambulance, and they're like, okay, we'll send somebody, and him stumbling through that process, and then also him confronting Michelle Williams. Like both of those are really, really powerful scenes. And then on top of that,
and a lot of it, it's all done in just one shot. Like for a lot of the scenes.
For a lot of it, because it must have been shot very quickly, as your research shows. And then on top of that, he had a hawk to his arm, which is another big feat. And then there's some scenes where he just acts with the hawk. I think there's one I'm gonna put on Instagram where he's just like with the hawk and he's like emoting so hard, and I'm like, how? What like it is? I think it's a technical.
He was really
feat.
Good. Yeah, he was.
The
really
movie
good.
may suck, but I think he was really good. I'd give him 8.
I'd give him an 8. Yeah.
I think he did really good stuff here.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we get into clips?
No.
Okay, well then let's get into.
What would you give this movie? I'm curious.
Give it a 4
out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad movie, but it's like one of those bad movies where I'm like, this is an experience. If you're listening to the podcast,
But it's not bad. Bad. It's bad because it's weird, right?
I would say it's bad because it's weird and also a little bit bad.
A little bit bad.
Yeah.
Cause Hawk.
I think there's a number of reasons. Although the symbolism is like overdone and it's like the movie isn't like really well put together. I mean,
No.
I think there's some good performances.
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
A lot of it doesn't. I think the fact that I thought it was an incest movie for probably like 30 minutes
Isn't
out of
great.
like a third of its runtime, it's not a good sign. Fact, the whole Michelle Williams peeing sequence, don't understand.
So weird, and it was never explained. Yeah, it really is.
It's a weird one,
It's
but
really struggling.
I do think it's fun to watch. I think it's a good one to watch.
No.
Because it's about a hawk. Oh, my God. Okay, here's the clips. So here is a hawk noise. You might have heard that from when I was playing the Dead Fred clip. Here is a clip I'm calling Hawking on the Phone.
Fred and I caught a hawk. No, this is different, believe me. She's a red-tailed hawk. She's huge.
I just have a lot of hawk lines.
Hawk talk.
Here's one.
Hawk talk.
Hey guys, welcome to Hawk Talk. Here's one called Hawks and Assholes.
Brother, you could never train a hawk. What? No, I said a hawk has a very delicate nervous system, and it cannot be trained by an asshole.
I got another hawk.
Oh, this is an emotional one.
Boy?
Before that,
I got another hawk.
I really like that's him telling Precious.
I got another hawk.
I like how he says hawk though.
Hawk.
I think that may really be a standout part from this movie too. Is that Paul Giamatti says hawk.
Hawk.
Why'd you do that, goddamn boy?
This is him acting. Okay, just picture this.
He's dead. He's dead. And I want to know what you did to him. I want to know what you did to him, goddammit!
So good. And then we're gonna go back to Silly with Need to Eat.
I want you to eat.
This is my favorite clip from the movie.
I want you to eat.
Eat.
I want you to eat.
Apple and bananas.
Come on.
I want to eat. Eat.
You know, George,
Apples and bananas.
you're really not looking real good.
You know, Professor, I'm not feeling too good tonight.
Why not?
Well,
No.
nothing, just a hawk.
Hawk.
Just shut up about your hawk,
Just a
George.
Hawk.
Here's
He's a real hawk nerd. He's a hawkhead.
Hawkhead.
No pets allowed.
No, this is... this is not
Sounds
a
like
pet.
a seagull. Doesn't sound like a hawk.
There's a
I
real
know my
hawk.
birds.
There's a real hawk.
I want to cut together a supercut of every single time Paul says hawk in the movie.
That would be so good. I would love that.
Hawk.
Here is Paul really acting as well. This is him acting with the bird.
Do you understand how I feel? How did I ever even get mixed up with you? You're a goddamn doctor's daughter. You pretend to be poor white trash.
Just want you to know what happened.
I loved him! This whole goddamn thing is my fault!
Damn.
He said.
Calm down, goddammit!
Do something, call them.
Well, after that, here's a clip called Tight Ass.
Well, I bet you that thing is tight enough to squeeze the balls off a net, don't you think?
I'm not thinking about that.
Would you just saw
To
it ain't natural
squeeze
not
the
to think about
balls
something
off a
like
net?
that.
Yeah.
Ready?
To squeeze the balls off the net.
God damn, that make a small dog break a big chain.
I loved him!
I loved him.
I like that clip.
That's a good clip. Where's
It's good Paul yells. Only 2 really good Paul yells in this one.
2 good Paul yells. But, yeah. I'm doing a lot on the computer. Sam.
Pardon?
You can't just make fun of me when I trail off.
I didn't mean to.
I love you.
I loved him!
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
All right.
Hammer.
That's a good one, too. This one is just, what the hell is this man saying?
That's my favorite one.
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
All right.
Hammer.
Wait, did I have somebody saying hammer at the end?
That's Fred.
Hammer.
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
All right.
Hammer.
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
All right.
Hammer.
That's the best clip.
That's really good, dude.
That's my new
That's
favorite.
really good.
Also,
Beat that, Casey Moffat.
All right, put him back to back.
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
All right.
Hammer.
You've disappointed Daddy. Now go.
Oh, without glasses? Okay,
Shit, I've been
those are our
throwing
3
him
favorites, I
down there
think, so far.
myself.
All right.
We got
Hammer.
Glasses, You Disappointed Daddy, and Pardon are the names of the clips.
Those are good. Those are good.
Put them back to back.
You want them back to back? Okay, this is
Hear 'em
complicated. I'm really going hard here, but here we go.
Okay.
First off, we have where the hell is it? Where'd it go? Oh, glasses.
Oh, God! What? I sat on the glasses.
Okay.
You've disappointed Daddy. Now go.
Okay.
Oh, shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
So funny.
All right.
Hammer.
This is like when you get a good clip and you hear it more times, it just gets funnier.
Yeah.
The hammer kills.
But what
me.
is he saying?
Okay, let's try and break it down. We don't have a lot of time left on the podcast.
All he says
so
is,
let's break
but
it
what
down.
did Moon die?
Shit, I've been throwing him down there myself.
Well, shit, I've been dum myself. Sounds like he had a stroke. But
All right.
hammer. We have 1 clip left over here.
Oh my god.
Don't you shout. You're already scared the bird.
That's the first time he doesn't say hawk.
Just scared the bird. So that's really good.
All right.
And then
All right. All right.
I have 2 more clips of Paul here that are from the movie phone interview. This was a question that said, what attracted you to the role of George Gatling? And he's a real dog in this clip. Him and the director are very comfortable together. And if you couldn't tell from them just talking
He's a
about
dog?
parrots. Yeah, here we go.
What attracted you to the role of George Gatling?
I got to mess around with Michelle Williams.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Those
I
answers
thought that
don't
would be
fly
pretty
anymore
good.
in a
I actually thought the
2019
whole
world,
bird thing was
post
pretty
Me Too.
interesting. I wanted to play around with hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I met you, and
I knew it's the one to play.
And obviously it's because of the hawk.
Seriously, no. So, and then I wanted to do it because of that.
3 things that you love about movies.
Wow. I love you.
Oh.
And you're all about movies. I love me. And I like popcorn.
All right.
So that's it.
Is he high?
He sounds high. Is there video to go along with that?
Yeah, there's video for all of these, dude. So that does it for The Hawk is Dying.
Brokeback Mountain.
That's
what she was nominated for.
Okay. Yeah, really loved it. I had a... Oh, my God.
I had a great time.
Started the podcast with Jan, ending the podcast with Jan.
I'm happy for you.
Had a great time. I recommend everybody should watch this movie. And if you don't watch this movie, you need to follow along on our Instagram account.
I don't think it's bad.
I think it's bad.
I think it's too symbolic.
I think that makes it more bad.
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 Jack.
The Incredibles 2 now on DVD. What I'm saying is, you should follow along on our Instagram and our Twitter account. Instagram primarily at Giamatti Podcast, so you can see these clips of him and this hawk. I don't know.
Or watch us on.
Or watch
on
the video
YouTube.
podcast right now. Hopefully you're watching
Right
the
on
video
YouTube.
podcast because you can watch
the
the
link
clips.
is down below.
Yeah, exactly. Link down below. So follow along, watch Paul act with this hawk. You can see the behind the scenes. You can see everything that we're talking about today on our Instagram and in the video podcast. Sam, next week we are watching the movie Robots. You're not excited?
I remember this movie, yeah.
I liked this movie as a kid.
I don't want to listen to the trailer. We don't do that anymore.
No. We're not going to watch the trailer. So Paul Giamatti in the movie plays he plays Tim.
Okay.
He plays Tim.
Tim.
Yep, that's all I got for information this week.
Perfect. Guys, you can find us on Instagram at Giamatti Podcast.
Yeah.
Twitter at Giamatti Podcast.
Yeah.
Facebook at Giamatti Podcast.
Hell yeah.
Email us at emailgiamatti@gmail.com.
And the thing is with the email...
And guys, go into the description of this podcast and watch the YouTube video pod.
And we read all your emails.
We'll toss out the link on our Instagram too, so if you want to check it out.
Yeah, and
future dates.
And we make changes based on your emails. For example, Devlin McPherson said, long-time listener, first-time emailer here, big fan of the show. You guys are doing important work, obviously. I just felt like I had to email in to say that your Jake and Logan scale is a bit dumb and not funny anymore. Move on. Best regards.
Yeah.
And we retired it. So if you want to make a change in the podcast, email us. If you want to let us know how we're doing, email us. The other thing you can do...
This show isn't just our show. It's your show.
It's your show. The other thing that you can do that really helps us out is, honestly, the best way to get this podcast to be better is to tell people about it. It's hard to tell people about a podcast all about Paul Giamatti.
We want people to know about us.
Yeah, but
to know about Paul.
Truly, to know about Paul. But it genuinely is super helpful if you tell your friends or tell somebody about the podcast.
You don't need to share it. Sharing things is embarrassing sometimes on social media.
Well, share it if you want to. That'd be awesome.
But I get it. Just tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad.
Exactly. Tell your friends about the podcast. It's a big help to us. And also, if you leave us reviews on iTunes, we have iTunes reviews, Sam. Did you know that?
I forgot about this.
We have about 5.
What?
Yeah. Maybe we'll read them next week.
I want to read them.
We'll read them next week.
That sounds dope.
But there's a little teaser for you next week.
Oh.
So if you want, leave some iTunes reviews. We'll also read those. Yeah, both of those things help. Tell somebody about the podcast.
Guys, we want to be popular.
We do. And we love doing it. But it's way more fun when more people listen.
It's more fun. Imagine the listener mail. We don't have listener mail this week.
Yeah. We had
because we run dry.
We've run dry.
So, guys, we love you.
Mm-hmm.
We are the big Pauls.
We're
the little Pauls, too.
Well, we're the little Pauls to God Paul, of course. But we're the big Pauls to you little Pauls.
Yeah.
And to the little
And
Pauls.
we're the little Pauls to the biggest Paul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to the little Pauls, we want to say, Blessed be the Giamatti. Praise be.
Yeah, I got a great sense of humor. That's something you're going to find out about me. I'm funny and I can take a joke. You know, a lot of people can't take a joke.
I didn't have the outro music fast enough, so I just had to hit a clip.
That's okay.
Here we go. Bye-bye.